Hello, my name is DC. I'll be giving a match analysis for Gambia versus Kenya. Let's get into this. Once again, for the meantime, I'll just be skipping to where the goals start. That is what is known as a golazo. Alright, so it starts here. Ball goes out wide. You think, you know what, nothing much can happen, right? Because at this point, the defender has put him under a lot of pressure and a lot of duress. And then now the problem is that the defender lets him turn back. Oh, sorry. That was no. The defender. No, sorry. I got ahead of myself. So what he does is that he keeps applying pressure. At this point, the defender does his job because defender, yes, because at this point he has pushed the initial person that was in the box. He's made him go all the way here. That's how good. That's how good of a job he's done at jogging. You know, like following someone from behind or something like that. I think so. So now, what the next thing should happen here is someone should cover this particular area somewhere around zone 14. I don't know if I've drawn that zone correctly, but let's move on. As we play this video here, that's the problem. He moves too far. He takes the bait. So that's the mistake that I made. I thought it happens here, but it happens a bit later. Because if I was him, I wouldn't actually move this forward. I would actually move back and then just wait to see which direction he turns into so that I'm able to react rather than at this point. I understand him going tight, but I would just take a step back, wait for him to make a move, and then following him into that direction. Because what he does is that he opens it up for him because he's already in momentum. He is moving and he seems to want to take a shot. This is why they say you miss 100% of the shots you don't take. Now just imagine if he didn't take this shot, because that is a golazo. What a hit. What a hit. The coach is happy. He is happy. That is a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful goal. Oof, look at that. Like everyone is shocked. How did that go in? So yeah, and not to take away, okay, not to say anything about the defender. Okay, not to make it seem as if the defender is the main reason why the ball went in, but even just the touch he takes to put it into his stride, it's lovely. It's a small touch, but it creates such a big difference because it creates the gap. You see that? That's what creates the space for him, and everyone is slow to, you know, track or just try and block it. But this is where you just have to sit and admire a good goal. Because look at how far he is from the goal and the fact that he hits it so well. He's that's a lovely goal because yeah, that touch, alright, he is within the vicinity, but yo, this is a good goal. Yeah, better defense could have been done, but look at that is top corner. That is a wonderful goal. That is a wonderful goal. That just has to be said. And then here, another chance, another goal. And I like how simple he makes it look. So what I like here is that his persistence, because other players would just have let that go. Not only does he find the ball, he puts it back into play, he even finds a teammate. Now already, this is a problem. The gap is too big. So I'm assuming this is of a counter-attack because there should be someone at least here, make it a back three or something, because this is just too much of a gap, and then they're giving the person on the ball a lot of space. And because of that gap, it creates other problems. Not that this gap, not that he could not like saying that this gap does not have anything. It does, because once you leave that space, you're also, as you're marking that person, you also have that consideration that, you know, someone could actually come in the middle here. And because of this player making a run, it offsets the defender, because in his mind he thinks maybe he's going to pass, and then maybe he notices the head movement, but the player here takes a quick touch, pushes it into space. Yes, the defender is close, but yeah, just that bit of separation there. Just look at that. You know, he fakes it as if he's going to make a pass. The defender eats that, and then that's a lovely goal. That is a lovely, lovely, lovely play. I just love how quick they do it. Immediately they see a chance at goal, they shoot. That's how football is supposed to be. Sometimes just shoot. And there. He celebrates. Lovely. Yeah, but this goal all stems from the persistence of this player. If he doesn't do this, they don't score. What I do like, look at that, just a little trick, and all you need sometimes is that little bit of separation. You don't need like a big amount of space or distance, or just like something to divide you, and you just need that little bit to make a run and take a shot. And what a shot he does take. Because it looks like the keeper should be able to catch it, but that he roofs it. Here we have a penalty. Unfortunately, I don't have the footage of the original foul, so we just look at how he scores the penalty. Takes a breath in, breathe out, takes a few steps. Lovely, lovely pen. That's a lovely penalty because he puts his team back in the game. And that's one thing I like. No celebration. He is serious. He did not come here to joke. He did not come here to play. He came here to get the title. I'm sure some of you understand that reference. Takes it immediately to the center half, to the center line so that they start it again. Another situation. High line. No, not just to... Okay, this is one thing I'm just going to point out. High line. So much space to run into, and if you're playing a high line, you might as well play an offside trap, or else you'll just be running into your goal aimlessly. Alright, so cross is put in. That's actually good defense. Took it very far away. The play, yeah, that heavy touch does not do him any justice. And look at that. And it's funny how initially it starts from a failed free kick, but it actually seems like this might lead to some good build-up. Boom, boom. Woof. Filthy. Very filthy. So the funny thing, this stems from actually a very good cleared free kick, and then the bad touch that makes him lose the ball. So initially, everything starts from here. I understand he's trying to move forward, but sometimes if you're the target man, or let's say you have the ball in and around this area, yes, you might have space to run into that to, get yourself a shot on goal, but sometimes it's not really worth it because there's a high likelihood that the ball will be taken away from you. That's why you find sometimes when someone brings the ball down, instead of moving forward, they just, he could have taken a touch here to this direction and just pass it back. Because sometimes the best thing to do is to keep possession. Because yes, there are times we're supposed to take risk, but at this point, it really wasn't going to work out. It really wasn't. So he loses the ball, and then the opposition take advantage of that. That's basically how it is. And here's this. Alright, I know that they're setting up, but if you can draw a line, and there's no one. Oh, sorry. It should be, yeah. I should be seeing a line. Maybe just need some time to load. Because if you draw a line here, it's like almost everyone is in this particular area of the page. Let me just use this. Let me just push it forward. But what I do like is that, yeah, they do set up well, but it's a lovely goal once again. What I like, he takes the ball, he pushes forward, and that defender there, that's the mistake he makes. And I'm not sure if you get it. So he receives the ball, right? He is a bit behind, but at least he's putting the player under duress. Now, this is the mistake that he makes. He assumes that the player... Oh, sorry, let me use this. He assumes the player is going to go into this direction. So he sets his body up in a position such that if that player moves here, he is able to intercept. But the problem, he estimates too early. And at this point, I would rather he rushed in. By rushed in, I would rather he came in from this direction to try and get the ball, because just by that movement, it would block out. So if, let's say, he was here, right? He blocks out a chance to score from this particular area. He would block out any ball that would move, that would go in this particular area, and then he would force the attacker into a much tighter angle to shoot. But unfortunately, just that little movement there gives the person with the ball that, okay, I've sought him. So, and then as he tries to block, it's too late. But this, oof, I like how the ball hits the upper part of the post and then comes back down. Because that is a tremendous strike right there. That is so good. That is a lovely, lovely, lovely shot. I just like, I like such type of goals. That is a lovely goal. Keeper, not much he can do. Not much because it's such a brilliant strike. But it all stems from here. They were given, because if we look at it at a much, if we look at it here, he could have engaged. He was in the best position to engage, but he doesn't. He just looks at it. Because if he was running full pelt, he probably would have convinced him to move into another path. But right here, if he moved somewhere here to block him off from taking the shot on his right foot, yes, some would say no, he would leave a space, but there is a man here and there is a man here that would have probably taken care of that. But just by tilting his body or moving his body slightly in the opposite direction, it opened up the angle for the player with the ball to take the shot. And that is a lovely goal. That is a golazo. So many great goals in this. Oof. If I was a keeper, I wouldn't be upset. Yes. Does the defense make a mistake? Yes. But, oof, that strike there. Because from even, look, did you see that? Even the defensive player gets shocked. Somewhere here. Look at him. He is flabbergasted. Look at that. He's just holding his head. He was like, wow. You just have to appreciate that sometimes. Uh-oh, uh-oh. That's another lovely goal. And it's not even offside. So this is where the goal stems from. So that's, I understand what the defender was trying to do, but maybe it wasn't the best option. Yeah, because he plays it directly into, he plays it into the space, but I would prefer he kicked it very, very hard so that as the ball is in the air, most of his teammates would probably be running back to get into position. But you know what? The defender does one part. Alright, he owns up to his mistake. He goes back to the player that he was with, and then he tries to block him off. But what he does is that he flicks it up, and then this is what I like here. A bit of deception. Because as he strikes, he's onside. Because, you know, I thought this was a failed shot, but it's actually a very well disguised pass. Because he fools everyone here. He makes it think as if he's going for the pass. And then, yeah, well, I clicked it twice, so he did that. That's a lovely goal. Because he deceived the defenders there. What a comeback. Is it? No, 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 no. This is just one. Yeah, it's not really a comeback. And yeah, he is playing everyone on side. I understand he's following his runner, but yeah, he ends up playing everyone on side. Yeah, because if he, I understand he's moving, but if he just maintained his line, but I understand it's very difficult for offside traps because at this point you're relying on things like VAR and it doesn't always go in your way. So I do understand why he runs back, but he should have been following because if he stayed in his line, he would have been offside. But that's a lovely finish. No, okay, not okay. That's not really lovely, but a smooth finish. Like it completes the transition. But this is such a lovely disguise pass, because he sells the dream that he's going to shoot, but instead he passes, and then that's a goal. Or maybe he did want to shoot and things didn't go well. Anyway, that's for him to know. Oof! Last minutes of the game comes from a throw-in. They have more than enough defenders to deal with this. Now, this is the thing that's been happening with modern football. You expect people to be comfortable with the ball, you expect people to play it out. So the assumption is that you don't kick it out, you hold on to possession of the ball. But in most cases, you're bringing the ball down so you can pass it away. But at this point, last few minutes of the game, let me put this down just to give you an look at that. This is moving into the last minutes of the game. At this point, 90 plus 5, 95 minutes and the 6 minutes at a time. Whatever comes into your box, you kick very hard out. There's no need for him to trap it. Just kick it as hard as you can so that you reset. You kick it as hard as you can. If it comes back, you reset. Because at this point, you're trying to protect the lead. And I could say good instincts on this player. He immediately hits it. And look at that energy. Look at the happiness. This is such a good game. Look. He's exhausted. I can't blame him. What a thrilling match. 3-3. How often do you see a 3-3 scoreline? Yeah, but he could have just booted this out. But very quick reactions from the striker. Very, very quick reactions. Boom. And yeah, he should have just kicked it out. There was no need to, he should have just kicked it out. Yeah, otherwise, that's been my match analysis of Gambia versus Kenya. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And I'll see you in the next one.